Hi, everybody. Welcome to week one's overview. So each week, what I'll do is I'll just do a quick overview, kind of describe what you've got to do this week, and just kind of keep you in the loop in terms of um, some extra information or materials you might need to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. So um, the first place to go always every week is to just jump into modules and then go into the start here module. So always start here. And basically what I'll do is I'll provide a video overview of sort of what you're seeing here on the start here page. So this week, we're going to do a couple things, but mostly we're just going to acquaint ourselves with the course so that you've got an idea of how the course is going to work, the rhythm of the course, and sort of how to successfully complete each module. So the first thing I would do always is to read through the learning outcomes. So we're going to develop literacy using digital communication tools. So that's Slack and Zoom. Become aware of our own digital literacies, identify the roles of digital literacies as technical communicators, reflect, and complete preparations for our web portfolio. So the learning outcomes are a really good sort of snapshot of exactly what we'll be covering throughout the week. The next thing to really look at is the weekly to-do list. You've got things divided, again, into midweek activities, which are due Wednesday at midnight, and end of week activities, which are going to be due Sunday at midnight. So the first is going to be to join Slack. You'll see the details in the Join Slack page, but I'll just ask you to join our Slack channel. That's a way for us to communicate with one another and for you to have direct access also to me in a sort of direct messaging situation. So that's Slack. That'll take, it says 30 minutes. I think it'll probably take you about 15. You'll complete the baseline digital literacy survey. There's a link to that again in modules, and that again will take about 15 minutes. You'll watch two videos. One is Meet Dr. Lamb, which is me, and you'll just hear a little bit about myself and my own digital literacies. And then also the course overview video. So the course overview video is going to be a sort of a high-level overview of the entire semester. That's going to walk you through the different projects and things to look out for. Number 4, you'll read or watch the instructional material, and I'll show you that here in a second. That should take about an hour. And then you'll schedule a Zoom meeting with me. To schedule a Zoom meeting, you'll jump over to Calendar, and you should be able to see available appointments over the next several days. So I've got a bunch of appointment slots, and you can request one or reserve one, and be sure to do that before midweek. Your end of week activities are going to be the portfolio presentation assignment. That'll take you about 3 hours. And the final discussion, the discussion board posting, that will take you about 2 hours. So let's quickly look at where we can find this material. So the course overview is going to be here. And these are just going to be 2 short-ish videos. You'll join the Slack here, and you'll see the name of the Slack, which is TECM 5191-F23 for fall 23. And pretty simple. And if you've used Slack before, that should be very self-explanatory. And then the bulk of what you'll be asked to do at the beginning of the week is to watch all of the instructional activities. So there's going to be a lecture video, where you'll be introduced to digital literacies in technical communication. And I will be updating this video, but this video will be available to you. So you'll be asked to read a couple articles and watch the video lecture. And then there is, of course, several other resources available for you. They're not required to read, but they're available for you for supplementary material. So that's sort of the instructional materials for the week. You'll submit your baseline survey midweek. That is going to be That is going to be I don't know where my little face went, but that's okay. So that'll be a Qualtrics survey. Should take you about 15 minutes. And then scheduling your Zoom meeting. And then I want to quickly show you the um, web portfolio assignment. So essentially, in this assignment, we're really just preparing for, again, this web portfolio project that will be due at the end of the semester. So the first thing I'm going to want you to do is to read the portfolio project assignment description very carefully. You can see a link to that here. And then the second thing I want you to do is to obtain web space for your portfolio. Okay, so part of what we'll do is we'll work on actually building a web portfolio, but we're going to want to actually host it somewhere. And so I'm recommending you use WordPress, and in particular WordPress.org, not the .com. The .com is really for beginners, but they kind of rope you into selling you added services that you don't need. So you'll want to use the WordPress.org option. And you can go to bluehost.com/WordPress to see what it would cost. So WordPress hosting is $4.95 a month. That's probably all you'll need for the purposes of this project. You may begin the WordPress tutorial. It's not necessarily due until I believe this is near the end of the semester. So you can start your WordPress tutorial early if you feel like you want to get a jump start on it. But eventually you'll have a WordPress tutorial assignment where you'll be introduced to how that platform works exactly. You can also read web hosting and domain explanation here in a 2019 article from Nick Schaeferhoff. This will give you more insight into your other options for hosting. But if you've never hosted a site before, I just recommend Bluehost with the cheapest WordPress package. Part 3, so you'll read the requirements, you'll obtain web space, and then part 3 would be for you to visit this website, Cofolios, and I want you to analyze at least 3 portfolios. So you'll choose 3, and for each of the 3, you'll analyze them based on their content, their visual design, and then you'll work through planning your own portfolio. Right. So essentially, we want you to take a look at a couple examples, and then I want you to kind of reflect and see what are some things we want to emulate in our portfolio as we move forward. Okay. So what you specifically need to do is you'll need to enter the URL where you're hosting your portfolio. So that would be purchased through Bluehost. So you'll have to purchase a domain and web hosting space. And then you'll share with me the actual domain where you're hosting your portfolio. Just to get language clear, domain is simply a web address, right? So unt.edu is an example of a domain name. Yours would likely be something like yourname.com. Mine, for example, is christopherYlamb.com. And I also have for my business, chrislambdesign.com, right? So those are examples of URLs where my websites are hosted. So you'll provide the URL. You're not actually going to need to build the website. So very important to remember this. You don't actually need to build the website at this stage, but you do need to secure a URL, a domain, or a URL, also known as a domain name, and then also web hosting space. Number 2, you are to turn in a list of best practices in the submission box and or via Microsoft Word or Google Doc attachment. So those are the 2 things that you'll actually turn in. Okay, so you can see the rubric there. So that's the big assignment for end of week for this week. And then of course, the discussion board. And so in the discussion board, um, you'll see a set of directions, and it's very sort of specific. So I encourage you to read through this very carefully, um, and uh, and you'll be able to complete this. If you've got any questions about the discussion board posting, please let me know. It's important though, because there are specific requirements that you think about this and perhaps start this early. So you need to respond to a classmate, but you also need to record a short video of yourself introducing yourself and your career goals. You can use any tool you like. I'm using Loom right now, Loom, to record this. It's very simple. Um, and then the third thing I'll ask you to do is to respond and reflect to my video lecture. Okay, so that's all for the week. It seems like a lot because it is. There's a lot of moving parts, but hopefully this first week isn't too terribly overwhelming. If you ever get confused, this is the spot to go. Your weekly to-do list is really going to help you. Just make sure you've got everything covered. So until next time, I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time.